Hi there, it's So from Inkling, and today I'm going to be talking to you about talking straight in the context of how to build a courageous culture within your team where people actually share their real thoughts and feelings. Sounds simple, but it's actually not very common in organizations. And I have to say, through years of coaching, I know that it's actually not that common in relationships and friendships. So I'm going to share with you two facts and a personal and rather confronting story wrapped up in there. There's going to be some tips for you. So two facts. Firstly, you do not need a leadership role to drive cultural change. If you inspire others to make positive change, then you're a leader. Secondly, if you are a people leader, just know that you have just as much influence over others as the broader culture of the organization you exist in. We often hear excuses for not trying to create change, and I would just want to say to you, do not underestimate your power as an individual. So the story. At Inkling, we are very committed to practicing what we teach, and so we have been leading into building a courageous culture within our own team. Now this sounds like it might be warm and fuzzy and we sing Kumbaya, but I have to say it's the exact opposite. It's been a really uncomfortable process for us all. We do a monthly pulse survey of our values, and some of the themes that were coming up were areas for us to improve. And one of them was around struggles giving feedback. Now we're a very connected team and people feel empowered to be themselves, but sometimes we can just be a little bit too nice. We don't have the difficult conversations, we don't challenge each other, we don't share our ideas, and we identify that this is actually getting in the way of us being our best, but also causing us a little bit of frustration. So we have a weekly meeting called the Cow, which is Celebrate Our Week, and the focus of this meeting is to spend time actually building deep and genuine connections with each other. And this actually links to the 4 universal needs that we teach in our programs around driving, belonging, and psychological safety. And one of those is connection. And so we step out of the doing to focus on the being with each other. And we started off doing mostly playful and fun activities. So sharing your most embarrassing moment, 3 people you'd love to have for dinner. And lately we started to go deeper. And I have to say it's caused some disruption, but it's having an impact. And I was really inspired by the courage of one of the team who kicked off a sharing exercise where we were talking about our frustrations within the business. And she shared an example with the team about something that I had asked her to do with a completely unrealistic time frame and the extreme frustration that it had caused her. You could tell it was an extremely challenging thing for her to do, but wow, it opened up the room and people started to say what they really thought and felt, where before it was kind of a bit shallow. And interestingly, I had then had to watch my own reaction, where my initial inspiration started to quickly shift to, ooh, this is really confronting. I had to watch my need to defend and explain why. I had to catch myself going into solution mode and just lean into saying, thank you, to lean into curiosity and ask myself, how could I be wrong? And I had to pull myself back a few times. Just knowing that actually this is the growth we need to build a culture where we don't take feedback personally. I've since had multiple conversations like this with the team, and the feedback from the team has been, wow, this is really draining. And can we do some of these meetings on a Monday morning when we have a bit more energy? But what we've started to see is things actually change back in the workplace. I'm hearing the team say things like, in the interest of having courageous conversations, I just want to tell you how I'm really feeling. We're hearing things like, I feel stuck, I feel overwhelmed, I feel unclear, I feel frustrated. And I have to say, as a CEO, I have so much more information than I have ever had about where my team is at. I've learned a lot about myself, my leadership, both strengths and where my weaknesses are, and I've learned a lot about the team. So I wanted to share with you some ideas to spark a more courageous culture in your work, but also in your life. So as I identified, committing time. So this does need to be structured to connect outside of the day-to-day, not about numbers, not about bottom line, not about processes, blah, blah, blah. It's just about each other. Consider fun and playful exercises, but also consider leaning into the hard stuff, the building tough skills, not soft skills, as some people like to refer to them, but the skills to actually have really open and frank conversations, and provide time to actually demonstrate it. Set some guiding principles for how you want to have these conversations, both in terms of what you want to see in terms of behaviors, but also what might derail those types of conversations and for people to feel safe. And really encourage your team and yourself to reflect and ask yourself throughout this process, how could I be wrong? How could I be wrong? So there are my tips, and I hope you found the story useful and encourage you to really lean into creating a courageous culture within your team.